What's going on guys, it's Filthy and I'm back with another video. Today we're on the PTR for 266, so that's the public test realm, so this is going to be for the next patch and for season 18, but we'll get to play it for a week and do some testing. So they've made a change to this game that I've been asking for absolutely ages. I'm really excited for it. It is the Sages set, has now got an extra piece, which means that any set in the game can use it, which is absolutely brilliant for the Necro, because we haven't been able to use this with only using a 2-piece bonus in the past, but now we can get a full 6 pieces. So this is a DB farming build. Now in the background it's on T15, but you'll see the enemies fly apart like paper, so this definitely can do T16. I haven't done too much testing, but I think it's probably going to be a bit more efficient to actually do it on T15, but with the season theme for next season you may well find that actually T16 is just as quick, and obviously not everything in the build is ancient, not everything is augmented, so this definitely can do T16, but I think T15 is probably going to be a bit more efficient. So when I say that, what do I mean? Well, for T15 you get 3 guaranteed DBs with a 5% chance for an extra, so that's 3.05 for every elite that you kill. If you double that with the Sage's set bonus, then that's 6.1 DBs per essentially elite kill. Now if you jack it up to T16 you get 3 DBs with a 50-50 chance of a 4th, so that is 3.5 per kill or up to 7. So the difference between 6.1 and 7 is about 14%, whereas the monster health is I think slightly over double. So I'll stick the difficulty charts on screen so you can have a look, but basically what I'm getting at is it's much quicker to do T15, the enemies die a lot quicker, and that's, you know, realistically where I'm at with it, but it certainly can go up to T15. Now before we jump in and show you the build, I just want to say welcome to anyone who's new. I'm going to be doing as much PTR testing as I can, so if you do want anything in particular, stick it in the comments and I'll do my best to get to it. So if you're new around here, hit the subscribe button and keep tuned for further videos. So let's jump in and look at the gear. If you saw the 300% move speed Necromancer, then this will be a build that's pretty familiar to you. We're going to make a few changes, we're going to make use of one of the new items, but in essence this is Anarius, so it's going to work off the Anarius set. Now the 2-piece and 4-piece don't actually matter for this build because we're going to be taking the gold wrap and Boon of the Hoarder, so we're going to be invulnerable, so the bone armor stacks don't really matter for the toughness. So really it's only the 6-piece Anarius that we're interested in terms of dealing damage. So what happens is once you activate bone armor, which we have on the bar, that gives us a swirling tornado of bone, it strikes enemies and the Necro will deal 10,000% extra damage. This hits like an absolute truck, it's huge, it really is a tremendous bonus. Now with that we apply a dot, which is going to be the pain enhancer, so every time we crit we get this weapon damage over 3 seconds as physical, and any enemy that we do get bleeding, we gain a 3% attack speed for every enemy within 20 yards. So the idea is that the more enemies that we get in our hit box, in our hit range, then the quicker the burn storm goes and the quicker the pain enhancers are procced. Now normally speaking this is also paired with the Efficacious Toxin Gem, but we're not going to be taking that today because we are going to go for the Bane of the Trapped. This allows us to proc our Crispins and it gives us just a flat damage boost, and I just find that this actually, particularly on this kind of difficulty level, does seem to work a little better. But by all means you can certainly put this one in, you can go for the Toxin Gem, not a problem swapping between the two, but we've gone for the Bane of the Trap today. Now the other swap is that we've obviously got to take the Boon of the Hoarder, so that means that the Wreath of Lightning has come out, which we were using to proc move speed, but again we just need the toughness from the Boon of the Hoarder. So realistically the only damage source we've got is Pain Enhancer. This is hitting on crit, so every time we crit we get this effect, so crit hit chance is obviously your #1 stat priority. Now the other way that we're going to do damage for single target is by using Bone Spirit with the Panic Attack Room. This again hits like a truck because it's 4,000% weapon damage. What it does is it's got an area of effect for 10 yards and it will fear everything in 10 yards. Now that's really important because we're going to be taking a Crispin Sentence. That's going to give us up to 100% extra damage against slowed enemies, but triple it against any other CC. The fear from the Bone Spirit counts as another CC, so that's brilliant. So whenever we dump this on an area, everything in that area is going to be taking mega damage, and generally speaking you'll be able to teleport, catch up to it, snag it, and as you'll see in the footage, stuff just melts. It's really nice. So they're the two damage mechanics. We also are taking a Tragul's Corroded Fang for up to 200% damage to cursed enemies. We're pairing that with Frailty, or a Frailty on the bar, so again we've got this curse going on around us. As the Inaris is a melee close range build, this pairs together really well. And we're also going to be taking Ryleena's Shadow Hook. That's going to give us more damage for every point of essence. So as like most of my Inaris videos, I'm stuck on 310 at the moment, so that's a little over 150% extra damage. So they're the multipliers. Now we've only got 5 pieces, so we have to take the Rorg and the Cube. That's to make up the 6-piece bonus, and it also allows us to wear 2 pieces of Sage. Now the 2-piece for Sage doesn't really matter, we get a little bit of extra armour, it's an extra 500 armour I guess, a little bit of vitality and a little bit of intelligence. But the 3-piece, that's what we talked about at the start of the video, it doubles the amount of DBs and you just get DBs for days. So obviously it's great for rerolls, great for item upgrades, and you will not be running out of DBs if you set up this particular build. Now, other multiplier that I forgot to mention is Convention of Elements. So this rolls around onto Physical for the Pain Enhancer, and it rolls around onto Poison for the Bone Spirit Panic Attack. So both of those, if that rotation is up, will absolutely decimate. Really good. Cold we don't use, but we do get tremendous uptime. Now one of the main changes to the build is we're going to be taking the Flavour of Time. This is new for 266. It's got a affix on it now. Pylon effects last twice as long. Now I think this may well be my favourite item in the game. It is absolutely amazing to get double conduit, to get double cooldown, double speed. If you hit a couple of pylons in a rift, it is just amazing. You're absolutely god tier. Everything just completely melts. It is so good. It's just brilliant. Now it also works off the little shrines, so not just the pylons but the normal shrines that you get in rifts. They're doubled as well, so you get a frenzy one, you get a speed one. You know, there are plenty that will actually benefit you. Damage reduction's okay, but yeah, the doubling effect, because they all stack, because they go on top of each other, obviously there is an RNG element, but the more pylons, the more shrines you get, the stronger you'll be. It's just absolutely brilliant. Plus this thing rolls with move speed and cooldown, and it's jacked with stats, so you can get some really nice stats on it. So amazing change. Now I did initially start with the Squirts necklace. This is bugged at the moment, I understand. One of the other YouTubers, Rax, has messaged me to say that the actual damage reduction on this, or damage increase that you're supposed to take, is actually a damage reduction. Now this is a decent item, it's quite powerful. You deal an extra 100% damage whilst not taking any damage yourself. There's no indicator, so if we pop this on, unlike the Traveller's Pledge, there's no kind of indicator to let us know that our damage is cranking up to 100. I'm not sure how long it's lost for. You know, we need a bit more information, but it's certainly a potential swap. But the Flavour of Time does work really well. But as I say, at the moment with this on, it's supposed to increase your damage taken by 50%. It's like a glass cannon type item, but at the moment it's not working and you're actually getting damage reduction. So I'm sure Blizzard will fix that. But the Flavour of Time, Flavour of the Month for me, definitely really good item. Rolling out the rest of the gear, we're going to be taking a Nemesis Braces for extra progression. This is a DB farming build, so obviously we want the extra elites to spawn when we click pylons, so we get the double effect from the pylon and we get an elite or a champ pack, which is really nice. Lost Time, we're going to use this for move speed really. Basically pretty much that's the only reason that's there. And we've got the Tragul's Corroded Fang just for the extra damage, as we said on the multipliers. So I think that deals pretty much with the gear, so let's go for the skills. Actually, before we do that, it doesn't matter which way around the sages, you have to have the belt, that's mandatory, but boots or helm, you know, whichever you craft that rolls better. And one other thing about this, it's now learnt by the blacksmith at level 12, so you don't have to find the plan, so you can rock this as soon as you get your Inaris build going. Now for the skills, Bone Spirit Panic Attack we've discussed. This is single target, you get 3 charges. So as you can see here on the bar I've got 3. This goes round and stacks every 15 seconds you get a new one. But importantly, when you consume corpses, every corpse you consume will give you 1 second off your charge time. So you're going to take Devour. I've gone for Cannibalise. None of the runes are particularly great. It doesn't. You don't take damage because of the Gold Wrap and Boon of the Hoarder. So none of these are particularly great. I would like to go for Devouring Aura, but the range is a lot less, so it seems to make sense to just stick Cannibalise on. But pick any rune you want there. It doesn't really matter. But this will consume corpses, and your Bone Spirit will come back. Now, obviously, for next season, you're going to have your Oculus Power Ring type things on the ground, the Triune Rings. Damage is going to be amazing, but cooldown's really going to benefit this because you'll just get more Bone Spirits back when you stand in that particular circle, so that will be interesting. This will do a lot more damage and be a lot more effective next season. Frailty, Aura of Frailty, this is here simply for the Dragool's Corroded Fang bonus. It also cuts enemies off at 15% health, so fairly handy, just an extra 15% off everything's life. Bone Armour, Harvest of Anguish, we've gone for this rather than for the stun. I mean, you can swap it out for Dislocation, and that will also proc your Crispins, but really, because we can't work the Stewart's Greaves in, the extra 10% move speed of Harvest of Anguish is nice, and also the Cold skill will proc the Lost Time, so we get move speed from that. But again, perfectly swappable, so you can put on Dislocation, in which case, if you do, you can definitely get rid of the Lost Time and just use whatever Alacrity you want. Blood Rush, gone for Metabolism. We don't need the armour because again with the Gold Wrap we're invulnerable, so Transfusion, we're not taking damage, so we don't need it. Molting's okay, it leaves a corpse on the ground which you will consume, and it's 1 second off a Bone Spirit, but it's not particularly useful. You'll be killing so much stuff that this will be coming back just by corpses generated through enemy kills. Homeostasis, remove the health cost if you want. Again, there's not much point because you're not taking damage. So Metabolism I find is the best. It doubles the health cost to 10%, but you get 2 charges, so it's really useful just in case you do find with no Gold Wrap you need to get out of dodge, and obviously it just increases your mobility, so that's why we've gone for that. And Land of the Dead, this is here to start the rift, freeze the screen, get Bone Armour active. You don't even have to worry about your 10 stacks, just get 1 stack up, you will eviscerate stuff. Gold drops, you're invulnerable, but obviously the 10 stacks is handy because it stops you from getting 1 shot if the Gold Wrap bonus does drop off, and also it also helps for the move speed on the Harvest of Anguish. I also save Land of the Dead for the Rift Guardian, but by all means, if you get a cooldown pylon, click it. And with the Flavour of Time, even with rubbish cooldown, I don't think I've geared any cooldown, so I've got 25% on the sheet. I can get 3 Land of the Dead presses out of a cooldown pylon now. I can activate it 3 times. So if you do get a channeling pylon, a cooldown one, it's absolutely amazing, and just ultra god mode, it's really nice. So these are the skills. It's fairly flexible. If you want to swap something around, you can do. Bone Spirit, you could go for Possession, but I find the area of effect is just a bit more efficient. Passive wise, it's a familiar kind of setup. We've gone for Dark Reaping. This gives us life per kill just in case we are taking damage. To be honest, I'm not sure it's necessary. You certainly could swap this off. It's the least important passive, and I probably would swap it off for Spreading Malediction just to eke out a little bit more damage, so that's something worth playing with. But in the footage I've got Dark Reaping. Overwhelming Essence required because it's extra damage, so more Essence is more damage because of your Riley and his Shadow Hook. Final Service, I would take this just in case you cock it up, just in case there's no gold around for whatever reason. You don't want to lose your pools of reflection whilst farming DBs, so you may as well put this on. And then Fueled by Death, move speed basically, so you get 3% move speed for 5 seconds, stacking up to 10 times, consuming lots of corpses because you just destroy stuff really quickly, so you've kind of always got this 30% move speed up. Obviously if you don't see any enemies for 5 seconds it drops off, but it comes back again pretty quick. But yeah, passive wise, Dark Reaping's about the only one that I could swap out. And I can't really think of much else that's useful to take other than, as I say, Spreading Malediction. So, if we have a little look at the gems, we've covered the legendary gems. Obviously, we just want Topaz for damage in the chest and in the pants. And then for the helm, Cooldown would probably be better actually. I've run a life gem in the footage, so I'll show it you with that. But I suppose thinking about it, cooldown would be more beneficial because you're not going to die with gold wrap, so you may as well get an extra 12.5% on your cooldown, which is just more goes of bone armor, more bone spirits, and more land of the dead, and also more teleport. So yeah, cooldown probably would be the way to go. Now in terms of playstyle, as I say, you want to get into the rift. Before you enter Numlock Devour, you're then going to activate Land of the Dead, then activate Bone Armor, and then that's it, you're away and you'll just melt trash. And provided you're finding enemies, they'll die, they'll drop gold, you'll be invulnerable, and then every time you find an elite or champ pack, you just get double DPs, and it's really, really nice. Now for the Paragon, you're going to want to get move speed up to 25%. I haven't bothered taking this down. I probably should reassign my Paragon because I think I've got move speed on my Flavour of Time, but I've just been too lazy to do it. You definitely want max essence because this equates to more damage, and then dump everything into intelligence. For offense, you want crit hit chance first. That's definitely the most important stat. Then probably attack speed, because the quicker your bone storm goes, the more you crit. And then probably crit hit damage and then cooldown reduction. Defense doesn't really matter because you're not going to be dying, but in theory it would be life percent armor, or armor life percent, or res and life regen. Then utility, area damage, resource cost reduction, life per hit, gold find. Now in terms of stats priorities, because it's only a kind of torment farming build for keys and for DBs, I won't worry too much. I will put a D3 planner link in the video description with all the stats on, but number one is crit hit chance, so I'm rocking just over 55%. That seems fine. Obviously the higher you can get this, the better. And then as I say, cooldown not really geared for. As for your elementals, I've got physical, I've got poison on my braces, and I've got physical on the Flavour of Time. Again, the theory is that the physical buffs the pain enhancer and the poison buffs the bone spirit, but you know, either or doesn't really matter, won't worry too much. But crit hit chance. Attack speed is also quite an important stat because the quicker you attack, the more you crit. So obviously any kind of attack speed pile on with your Flavour of Time is just absolute godly. Really, really nice. So that's the build, guys. I hope you like it. It's a lot of fun to play. It's very easy. Like is always appreciated, and please subscribe if you want to watch some more PTR content. I will catch you in the next video. Peace.